What's good, Liberators? Fingers here, and this is another thrilling installment of DX2 Demon Review. And today we are talking about the man who single-handedly brought back the Mankini. The man whose name makes for a fantastic slang term for penis. Zaou-Gongen. Let's get into it. A saint that originated in Japan and is believed to be a fusion of Buddha, Guanyin, and Maitreya. Zaou-Gongen was created as a part of Kinpusan belief system before the Nara period, and wow, that tells us absolutely nothing, so let's check out the wiki. Zaou-Gongen, also known as Vajragaba, is one of the most important mountain deities of Japan's syncretic Shugendo sects. They are a diverse tradition of mountain aesthetic practices associated with Shinto beliefs, Taoism, magic, supernatural powers, and esoteric tantric Buddhism. After the arrival of Buddhism to Japan in the mid-6th century, the native Shinto kami were soon considered manifestations of the imported Buddhist divinities. Zao serves as the protector deity of sacred Mount Kinpusan, Japan's Nara prefecture, and is considered the local Japanese Shinto manifestation of three Buddhist divinities: the historical Buddha, canon Bodhisattva, and Miroku Buddha, who serve respectively as the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. This makes Zao perhaps the most powerful local divinity of religious mountain worship in Japan. Now that is a description, that is a myth I can get behind. Now let's get into the mechanics. Okay, as we can clearly see, Zaou-Gongen's overall stats are complete garbage. This is an example of Sega's early missteps when creating demons. They've since corrected this by really hyper-focusing the new demons they create. You know, you get demons who are hyper-focused on physical, hyper-focused on magic, hyper-focused on a specific element of magic, that kind of thing, hyper-focused on ailments or healing, and every one of their skills focuses on that. Zaou-Gongen, when we get into his skills, we'll discuss this even more, is an example of them trying to do hybrid demons. Oh, look, he can attack and use magic. But when you split the difference, in this game specifically, when you split the difference, that is just a recipe for subpar demons. So you're going to have a demon out there that he can't hit really hard, and his spells don't do all that much. You're far better off hyper-focusing on one or the other. And if you want variety, if you want a team that casts spells and can hit really hard, you build that in your team, not in your one demon. You bring a demon hyper-focused on physical, hyper-focused on magic. And that's how you get that diversity, if that is what you're looking for. And one major thing to point out, and Zaou-Gongen's perhaps biggest weakness, is this right here, his agility stat. If you're running a physical team in general, they're usually made of paper, so you want it to be fast. You need to go first. It's just how it is. You got to go first, or you're in a lot of trouble. His agility, 143, when capped out with Fumi Thomas. His base agility is 123, which is abysmal for a physical-based demon. It hurts his accuracy real bad, but more importantly, it crushes your speed factor. So you're going to have to watch out for this, and he will be a drag on any team's speed that you put him on. So be very aware of that. So let's get into his skills. The transferable Miragidyne, which is the most powerful transferable fire sweep skill. Fire magic damage on all enemies, power 120. And again, this is an example of them trying to make a hybrid demon that really doesn't work, because no human being on this planet in any country has ever cast Maragidine with Zaou-Gongen, at least not on purpose. There might be a few finger slips, but it's never been done. It's never been done. Skill number 2, the God Hand. Physical damage on a single enemy, power of 200, which ain't bad. God Hand is a mighty, mighty blow. Power of 200, nothing to sneeze at. It would be better if his strength were a little higher. I mean, his strength is okay. You can cap it out at 213. Not breaking the bank on strength, but it's there, it's good, and it's how everyone runs Zaou-Gongen. They run him as pure physical because, well, as we'll get into right now, his unique skill, Congo Zao. While the demon with this skill is alive, all party members in a state of might will gain physical pierce. Now, on its own, this sucks. It's just, having to use rebellion, which puts you in a physical state of might. It wastes a turn, and to have to waste a turn in order to gain physical pierce, that's not great. It's a little too slow for my liking, but a little history lesson for all of you latecomers to the game. Zaou-Gongen was released alongside Hellbiker, whose unique skill, Red Zone, grants rebellion to every party member. So these two were meant to be a dynamic duo, and boy fucking howdy were they at the time. When these two came out, they shredded PvP. It was a slaughter. It was a massacre of epic proportions, and it basically became a game of whose Hellbiker Zaou-Gongen teams were faster, and that's what decided the battles. But that was a long time ago. That team is not nearly as useful as it used to be, but you can still get some serious play off it in Kiwamis, in Brands of Sin, in Hell's Park, in other aspects of the game that is not PvP. But this skill we'll talk about it when we get into the panels, which is why we're talking about him today, and the only reason you should run Zaou-Gongen in the modern day. I have him in the Origami archetype, giving him Herculean Strike, inflicts physical damage on all enemies, a power of 100, which is terrible, but 4 MP, not bad. Plus, if you got a Pierce effect on a demon, and you don't have a sweep skill to go along with it, that just, to me, seems self-defeating. Because you can single target people all day, and just, this guy can block that. Well, I'm just not going to use that single target attack on that guy. The whole reason for Pierce effects is to just hit everyone, set it and forget it, don't got to worry about it, which is why I like his Origami archetype. And for his passives, Savage Glee, 25% critical hit rate, and Epitome of Carnage, 20% critical hit rate, 15% physical damage. And we will get into why I went so heavy into critical hit rate in a moment. Brands, war brands. Give them war brands. Give them speed brands, though speed brands are on him. The percentage boost is based off of his terrible agility stat, so your mileage may vary, but speed brands are perfectly viable. I've got him with lead brands because running him, you want him to attack as soon as possible for reasons we will get into right now. Panels. Panel 1 plus 15% to physical damage. Awesome. Fantastic. And 15% to fire damage dealt. Useless. Why? Okay, it's there. Whatever. We're moving on. Panel 2, 15% to physical hit rate. Godsend. His agility is trash. He misses a lot unless you buoy up his physical accuracy. That's something you really want to focus on in his brand tertiaries, because, oh boy, can he whiff. And when he does, it hurts. It hurts big time. But one saving grace is that you don't lose your state of might or state of charge if you miss. It still stays on there for whatever reason. So even if you whiff, he'll still have his state of might on him and his state of charge if you've got charge on him for whatever reason. So that's one saving grace, but still, his accuracy is an issue. Be aware. And again, they split the difference on this panel. This panel 2 will give him plus 80 physical attack and plus 80 magic attack. Could have used full attack, give him 100 attack. I would take that over this splitting the difference. Nonsense. But there it is. Something to be aware of. And finally, and the reason we're all here today, and the only reason to panel this guy, if you're not gunning for this, don't even bother, because he costs. This guy costs. I believe the only way to fuse him is with 2 5-star demons. So he is expensive. He will cost you a pretty penny if you want to panel him up fully. But you can get some good work out of him when you do. Activates the following chain effect. If own attack deals a critical hit, puts all party members into a state of might, which is amazing, and you can do amazing things with it. You can take all your heaviest hitters, and even if they don't have physical pierce, you can give them physical pierce. Run them with Yoshitsune, and although Yoshitsune's Hasutobi has a pierce effect built into it, his Vorpal Blade and his regular attacks do not. So you can get some great use out of some of those demons, like Original Shiva, one of the highest strength stats in the game. He does not have a physical pierce on him. Now you can give it to him. And with Zaou-Gongen on the team and his unique skill, he can give them all might and give them all physical pierce all in one package. No Hellbiker need be included. So that is fantastic, and hence the reason for all the critical passives I have on here. And Auto Rebellion is also a terrific choice for him because it will be guaranteed crit, guaranteed physical pierce for him, and it basically just ensures, no matter what, that you're going to hit that off. The only reason that I don't have him with Auto Rebellion is for Demopocalypse. I use him on the boss wave. Auto Rebellion will not trigger on that boss wave. It only triggers at the start of the fight. And it, for whatever reason, it doesn't consider the boss wave to be the start of a fight. So, something to watch out for, something to be aware of. I really have no problem critting with him just all the time anyway, with the way you built him, with brands, with passives. So I keep him like this, but Auto Rebellion also highly recommended. Now, let's check out the other archetypes. Where is the blue bomber? There you are. Okay, Origami, Herculean Strike, which we already discussed. The Protector archetype, Rebellion, which grants the demon a state of might. Now, originally, when this guy first came out, you'd see that and be like, hey, that makes a lot of sense, don't it? Give him a state of might, now he's got physical pierce. Awesome. Except, in practice, it really sucks because having to waste a full turn in order to give your demon physical pierce, that only lasts for one hit, mind you. Thanks to his third panel, he will keep critting, and once he's got the state of might on everyone, he keeps critting, and it keeps staying up. But originally when this came out, that was not the case. We didn't have panels back then. And this is just, you were better off just giving him crit passives, building up his crit rate with the tertiary abilities of your brands. This, waste of time, don't even bother. The Psychic archetype, Fire Amp. Moving on. The Elementalist archetype, Drain Fizz. Now, a lot of people would run this guy with Rama way back when, and it made kind of sense. You could stall out opponents' physical teams, forcing them to single target you. I think you're better off just going full bore in the speed and offense and neglecting any kind of defense for this guy. But that is something people used to do, not so much anymore. And as a result, I wouldn't recommend this one either. As you can see, I've chosen the Origami. I would recommend the Origami archetype just to have this physical pierce enabling demon with a sweep skill. And when you have him panel 3, it's even more useful because, using God Hand, you've got a chance to crit once. Using Herculean Strike, you've got a chance to hit 2 to 4 times, depending on how many opponents you are facing. And if you've got a decent crit rate going on them, use Herculean Strike, you're going to crit on at least one of them, starting the cycle of pain that is the party-wide rebellion, and that's something you really want to consider. And that just about wraps it up for the man, Zaou-Gongen, furthering my addiction to physically based powerhouse demons. Thank you for watching, Liberators. I will link Zaou-Gongen in action down below so you can check out what this guy is capable of, because you can use him in a lot of different ways. Not so much PvP these days, but in literally every other aspect of the game. So I would strongly recommend you check him out. And remember, Liberators, do not get captured!